Hello dear dancers, this is Joana Saahirah reporting from Paradise, another message from the womb. And this time I want to tell you about frustration. Yes, failure. The things we do not succeed in. The things where we see we are limited. As a dancer who has been in this field from a very early age, I have been used to criticize myself and observe myself and analyze my movement and the results of my studying and my work all the time. So the first thing I learned is that as a dancer, you don't have to take everything personal. If sometimes I present a show, I do a show and I don't like the result, for instance, which happens pretty often, In Egypt, I was dancing every day for many years. Each day could be resumed to one show, two shows, 5, 8, sometimes more shows in one night, 1 hour show. Yes, so there's a lot of time and a lot of days and a lot of hours performing. So it's absolutely natural that sometimes I screw up. Sometimes I was not at my best. Sometimes I was not inspired. I was not in a good spot for whatever reason. So I learned how to observe myself from the outside, not from a personal point of view, but from a detached, more professional, more mature point of view, which is sometimes, yes, I don't like the result. I mean, so what? It's not a big deal. It doesn't mean I'm not a good dancer. It doesn't mean I'm not talented. It doesn't mean I'm not prepared or professional. It just means I'm human. This doesn't, it's not the equivalent of saying that I don't have to do my best all the time, especially if you're a professional and you're getting paid for it. Yeah. So it's essential that you do your best always. The target should always be I'm being my best in everything that I do. May that be teaching, performing, lecturing, writing, choreographing. There is no excuse as a professional to do a lame job. But in the end of the day, we are humans. So if sometimes I'm not succeeding, if I see I'm not succeeding in a certain work, if sometimes I still do my best and I still fail, in the sense that I don't correspond to people's expectations, but mostly to my expectation of what my job should be, of how it should be delivered, I don't take it personal. I don't internalize those failures or those weaknesses, those moments where I'm not at my best. I say, you know what? It's a moment. It's 1% of 99.9% of the times that I actually love what I'm doing and I love the results. I appreciate myself and my work so much most of the time. But that 1%, it can ruin the whole picture if you allow it to ruin the whole picture. Another point about this frustration or failure subject, aside from the fact of learning not to take it so personal, not to define you as a person or even as an artist, not to put in question your value, has to do with the function of humbling us. I find out that the times when I don't do my best work are lessons and humbling points. They are also reminders that I have to keep working, I have to keep studying, I have to keep digging deeper into myself and the crafts that I'm working on. It is not something that is necessarily putting me down because I decide not to take it that way. It's something that can lift me up in the sense that if a certain dance, a certain workshop, a certain text, a certain choreography didn't come out as I wanted to, I see there is space for improvement. I see it as a challenge. I see it as a road that I still have to conquer. And that can be very exciting, I think, The third point about frustration and failures has to do with not taking yourself too seriously. And I think this is a problem for a lot of professional dancers and a lot of people in every area, is that we sometimes don't take our job seriously, but we take ourselves very seriously. And as an artist, you are the job. When I see myself dancing, I see myself. because I'm using my body, I'm using my mind, my heart, my soul, my intelligence, my skills, my memories. I'm using myself. A dancer, he's her own tool. The work and the dancer are so easily identified with each other that it's a very fine line between who is me as a person and who is the dancer, right? So allowing yourself to watch what you do and see when things are not so good and see when things are great too, yeah, has a lot to do with not taking yourself too seriously. Take the job seriously, but not you. Sometimes we fall. I fell on stage, for instance, many times. I lost bras, I lost skirts, all sorts of very funny things at a distance have happened to me on stage. I mean, nobody died because of it. I was not, scarred for life because of it. Nobody needed therapy because of it. I mean, it was okay. Come on, we gotta get some perspective of the wider picture and understand that we're not that important, in the sense that if we screw up, we move on and we will do better things later on, and that's all fine. We don't have to beat ourselves up for it. And the last point about this failure thing is that usually the people who cannot accept their failures cannot accept their great achievements as well. I find a lot of shyness and almost like guilt on dancers recognizing the good things they are doing, as much or even more than recognizing the failings, the things where they're not succeeding, the frustrations, the places where they need to work. And that's crazy, because a healthy, balanced, critical view of yourself and of your work is very important. I have to be able to look at my dance, my teaching, my writing, whatever I'm doing, with clear eyes as much as possible, right? As much as possible. And see, you know what, this is great. I nailed it. I love what I did here. Or I screw up. This is boring, it's flat, it doesn't work, I got lost here, whatever is the analysis. But the point is, I should not be shy to pinpoint the good work as much as I should not be shy to pinpoint the things that need improvement. They are both sides of the same coin. Yeah? So get a wider perspective and learn how to be a spectator of yourself. Learn how to be a spectator of whatever you are doing with loving, fair eyes as much as possible, as much as watching ourselves allow us. Yeah? So make frustration and failure and greatness and good things that you achieve your friends. All good. It's all good. If you work, if you train yourself, if you study, if you do your best from your heart all the time, there is no right or wrong. There are just moments when we are stronger and some moments when we are weaker, and it's all fine and it's all part of the tides, The sea comes in, comes out, the moon grows, it fades. Everything is made of cycles. So it's not supposed to be a flat ride, this thing called life, this thing called dance. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down, or we move in circles constantly. So it's perfectly normal to be at your best right now and tomorrow to screw up in something, and that's okay. Don't take it so seriously, don't take it so much to heart in a bad way. It's life, baby, and we rock everything. And you know what we call a failure can be a great starting point for genius work. So don't underestimate failure and things where you think you were not so good, because those things can often give birth to amazing discoveries and amazing new paths. So open your eyes and start to look at things, at yourself, and what you define as failure or victory in a more intelligent, constructive way. Okay? Cheers to life.